Hello, my loves. Welcome to my channel in my little corner of the internet, or as I like to call it, Sea Film Whispers. My name is Annie, and I'm so glad that you stumbled across this video today. I would really love it if you would like to stick around and hang out with me some more. So yeah, let's get into it. In this channel, I really want to have an outlet to kind of express myself and my interests. So you will be seeing everything from content about beauty, fashion, mindfulness, art, self-care, philosophy, history, femininity, and everything in between. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, I really hope you would like to stick around, subscribe, continue hanging out with me. A lot of fun content is coming your way. And yeah, we can have a lot of fun together, hopefully. In today's video, I really want to talk about the new Barbie movie directed by Greta Gerwig. I saw it over the weekend and I absolutely love it, and I have so much to say about it. So this might be a little bit of a longer video, so just be warned. Also, there will be some mild spoilers throughout the video, but this is not going to be a movie review necessarily. It's more going to be kind of like me just analyzing the different lessons in the film, kind of takeaways, my interpretation of it, and just my thoughts around all of it. So yeah, it's pretty much going to be that. And so with that out of the way, let's start the video. Let me start by saying that I think that this film could potentially have the power to kind of heal a lot of our collective core feminine wounds as a society, which I know is a big statement, but I'll get a little bit more into that later. So as I mentioned, I did go see Barbie over the weekend. It was also opening weekend, which was amazing. I got to see everyone dress up, everyone wearing pink and in their full Barbie mode. Going into it, I was very much with the highest of expectations, mostly because the film is directed by Greta Gerwig, which I absolutely adore all of her work. I've seen all of her previous films, so Lady Bird and Little Women. I absolutely love them, was obsessed with them when they came out, and I'm still very obsessed with them. And I love that Greta, I think, has so many talents as a filmmaker, but for me, I think the main thing that she always gets so right in her films is that she has such a beautiful understanding of the feminine experience through all different stages of life and areas of our lives. And to me, I think that stands out so much in her storytelling. That's kind of like my favorite thing about her films. She just creates just such raw, empathetic, and relatable characters, and they're just so beautifully written. However, not a very superficial type of relatable, but a very profound, vulnerable kind of relatable, where you might not even know that you suffered from the very same thing till you see it portrayed so beautifully in another character, whether it's in a film or in a book or wherever it may be, and you kind of feel like you have this mirror being held up to you all of a sudden. And yeah, it's pretty moving and it's very magical. And I think Barbie was no exception to this magic, which was delightful for me to see as a viewer. So yeah, the movie starts with Margot Robbie's Barbie living her perfect life along with the other Barbies and Kens in Barbie Land, and everything is bliss. I think this is very much kind of alluding to our childhood as little girls, where everything is bliss. You don't have a care in the world. You know you're beautiful and you know you're perfect and you know you can be anything that you want to be. We just believe in ourselves so effortlessly. Like if you want to be president, you can do that. You can be a Nobel Prize winner or doctor or just a fabulous fashion guru. And I think this is very much portrayed in Barbie Land, with all the Barbies, how they have their own dream houses, their own careers, everything is pink and pastel and just beautiful and perfect, which I also think is such an ode to the original Barbie dolls, or like the idea behind the original Barbie dolls, which was basically to empower young girls to believe they can be anything and they can do anything, just like Barbie. Even like in the film, I think That's also pretty much portrayed as like what the main um, idea the Barbies have of like what their effects are on young women. But then one day, Barbie starts to change. She starts to have thoughts of death, cellulite. Everything that was once so easy and effortless is now suddenly significantly harder, and everything seems to just be going wrong, which I believe is very much a metaphor for how we feel in our tween and teen years as young girls, starting to mature physically and mentally, later become young women. I also found this comparison so brilliant because of the illusion of the contrast between light and dark feminine energy, or at least how they did it in the film. I thought it was very much alluding to that, which is a subject that I love to talk about. So if you guys want to hear more about it, please let me know in the comments down below, and I can definitely do more content around that. But anyway, going back to the film, for me, when we're little girls, we're very much just in our light feminine energy, which is very much just soft and beautiful and nurturing and creative, and just everything is like dolls and princesses and pink and glitter, and everything is just kind of a little bit easier, but that's another subject. And then as we kind of grow up and we mature into young ladies, we kind of get to activate a little bit more of our dark feminine energy. Or actually, the dark feminine energy just becomes activated, sometimes with us having no clue what's going on. And that's much more of like a sensual, mysterious, dark, chaotic, almost destructive kind of energy. And also, there's another character in the film that kind of betrays this energy a lot, which is Sasha. But we'll also get a little bit more into that. But she is going through her teens, so it kind of makes sense. And you kind of see all of this energy in her specifically with her interactions with Barbie. And how she probably doesn't even know what's happening to her, very much like Barbie does in the film, at this stage in the film at least. And she, like, I don't want to give too much of the film away, but I find it so hilarious how they portrayed Barbie just going through it in this way. Like, I felt like it was so brilliantly done and so relatable. And there is this brilliant YouTuber that I love. Her name is Galatea. I believe her channel is called the Authentic Observer, and she goes a little bit more into detail. So sorry, I'm gonna be looking down a little bit just because I kind of want to read you a quote of how she portrays this whole phenomenon, because I think she does it in a very very spot on, beautiful way. So yeah, I'm gonna read you the quote now. The quote is, "It's as if out of nowhere you were suddenly handed a really sharp and dangerous sword that you didn't ask for, can't get rid of, and don't know how to use. Is that power? It can be, but just as easily you can hurt yourself and others because you have no idea what to do with it. It might take you a really long time to figure out how to wield it properly. And maybe it can make you a target just as much as it can make you feel powerful." So I feel like this quote not only speaks to me a lot in the sense that I've never really heard it being portrayed that way. I feel like it's definitely very spot on. And I think it's very spot on to how we see Barbie portrayed in the film. And again, this character, Sasha, she's a teen and she has these like very grungy type of behaviors towards Barbie. That's all I'll say about it for now. When they first meet, and yeah, I think it's definitely just because she is a teen. I feel like sometimes teen girls, like teenage girls, just get such a bad rap for being annoying and stuff, and it's like, sure, we are annoying because we're literally going through it. Like, I think that's why there's a saying that's like, hell is a teenage girl. At least for me, that was definitely true. But yeah, let me put this away for a sec and we will continue with the chat. So yeah, sorry about that. As I was saying before, I think that we definitely see this portrayed in Barbie when she first meets Sasha. Winston in particular also really stood out to me with this whole phenomenon, which is when Barbie actually goes to the real world for the first time. She's suddenly hyper aware of herself and everyone looking at her, particularly men looking at her. And she's having this very bizarre experience of like almost from one second to another having all of this like men looking at her in such a sexual way. And I believe she describes it along the lines of something like her feeling very aware of herself, but also feeling some undertones of hostility and like violence toward her, meaning she didn't really feel safe, and rightfully so. I mean, like, that's something that a lot of young girls experience, I think probably all of us. Whereas at the same time, Ken couldn't understand her experience because his was very different than hers, which, I mean, it's fine, it's normal that that type of stuff happens, but again, it's very much indicative to how we feel as young girls. So yeah, then one of the things that I really loved about this film is how they really show you kind of like how women go through all different stages of their lives. And I think that this is such beautifully done because I feel like sometimes we teach young girls like how the mechanics of everything works when they get to that age, but we never really talk about the effects all of that, all of those changes do to our hearts and our bodies, and like in a more spiritual context, and like to our souls. Like, it's just such a beautiful transformation, and sometimes I feel like we don't see it that way through all different areas of our lives, not just like when you become a teen, but also when you become like more of an adult woman, and maybe you don't have the same body you did when you were a teenager, or even going into like being an older lady. I think the same thing happens, and I think it's so important for us to have those types of conversations, and to especially teach young girls um, the effects that that type of thing has in your heart and in your soul, and like how these energies work with each other and what the effects of that are as well. One of my favorite interactions that Barbie has in the film, she has like a lot of interactions throughout the film with different men and women, is when she comes across this older lady and she sees in her so much perfection in her imperfection. And I kind of think that at this point, Barbie was just so scared of being imperfect and aging and dying and cellulite and all of these things that she kind of wasn't able to see her beauty in herself anymore. And she couldn't really see kind of like her worth anymore. And through seeing this older woman and kind of recognizing in her not only the beauty that comes with age, but also the beauty that comes with the wisdom um, with that age, it was just such a beautiful interaction to see. It's like so moving where Barbie now admires this older lady for everything she's so afraid of, and how her beauty may have seemed like it was everything to her before, and now it's clearly not everything. And throughout the film, you kind of see a little bit more toward the end where Barbie starts to recognize this a little bit more. Because one of my favorite quotes from the film is when Ruth tells Barbie that being like humans make everything up, like they make up patriarchy and Barbie to try and cope with the challenges and complexities of being human and of life. And I believe this so true. Like, for me, one of the main takeaways here is that we really don't have to take life so seriously. Like, sometimes we can just make up a lot of stuff, like all suffering inside of ourselves for following ideas of perfection and how things should be and how things should not be, and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, and all of these things. And I believe that the real goal is that somehow we can get to a version of ourselves between how we used to be, like when we used to believe in ourselves and just think that we were perfect and everything, but also while also continuously growing in the wisdom that life is ever changing. We grow through stages, like all things in nature do. And through all of it, we are just as beautiful and as worthy as all everything else. Like, we deserve all the good, just like Barbie does. Throughout her journey in the film, no one around her doubts her beauty or her worthiness for 1 second, even though she does in different areas of the film. And I think that same thing kind of happens to us as well. Even when we doubt that we are worthy and we are beautiful, doesn't mean that we're actually not beautiful and not worthy. And when Barbie is able to move with confidence in herself and in her beauty and her worthiness as a woman, just for who she is, she doesn't have to be anything other than what she already was. And that was enough. And just like in the movie, they're hearing these revelations, we're able to wake up as the feminine collective and realize our unconditional worth and beauty in this world, which is so often overlooked. We are able to heal, and I'm so glad that this movie was made and that it's having such success and impacting and healing so many women and girls around the world. And I truly believe that it is. I try not to give too much of the film away, so that's why maybe all of this sounds a little bit vague. If you've seen the film, hopefully you will like understand a little bit more where I was trying to get at, hopefully. But yeah, most of the time, Pink and Barbie and basically traditionally feminine things get such a bad rap for being frivolous and unimportant and haters can say whatever they want about it, but for me, anything that brings up us all together as women and has us dressing up as fairy princesses again, no matter our age or situation, is a precious thing that should be treasured and certainly is a win for all of us. And I truly believe that, which is why this film made me so happy. And yeah, I hope that you guys can continue the conversation as well in the comments down below. I hope I didn't forget anything. I tried to kind of go through the main points a little bit vaguely because I really don't want to spoil things for people because I really hate spoilers. But I really wanted to talk about the film and kind of like what it meant to me, stuff. I might try to do this video again later, like after it's been like a month maybe that's been in the theaters, and I feel like most people have watched it, and maybe do an extended version of this as well. But yeah, I think this is gonna be it for now. Let me know if you want to see that video, and please continue the conversation down below so I can also jump in. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you want to see from me next. There's definitely going to be a lot of fun stuff coming. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.